So I'm here to introduce Dr. Muteti. And Dr. Muteti holds a BS in Math from University of Nairobi, a Master's in Education from National University, and a PhD in Urban Education Leadership from USC. And so he has more than 15 years experience in teaching both in K through 12 and higher education, with experience as a dean of students in a public school and an adjunct professor in 2 local universities. And I keep, so I'm gonna just go verbatim, because that's not. So I know Mr. Muteti for a long time, and he's the person that you already know that if you need, Dr. Muteti, for a long time, and you know that if you need any help pertaining to school or education, he's the person to go to. He's a really good resource. He's been a really good resource for me. He's a really good reference for you if you need it. But of course, you have to work with him and all that. So, yeah, so that's it. Thank you.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon. It's not easy to stand here and talk to you because I'm not special. You are special. But I have to thank you for being here. You all continue to make mark in your lives, in our lives and in our community. And as you sit here, is a testament of what you are becoming. You're all working towards something, at least, a career. And we are proud of you. I'm proud of each one of you. Who said school was easy? Who did? Who said being a student was easy? You thought about it? But you all continue to make it look like child's play. You know why? Because you have the desire, you have the will, and you ask the right questions along the way. Because you're leaders. You're the ones who are going to change you. Yes, I mean you. I have no doubt you'll change us too along the way. You're leaders in us, and leaders ask questions, the right kind of questions. Questions that allow us to think, push the envelope. Questions that challenge the status quo. Questions that make us take notice. That status quo is no longer appropriate. I'll repeat. Questions that make us take notice that status quo is no longer appropriate. You're that kind of breed, the African child. My challenge to you this day is, are you willing to challenge the status quo? Do you want to change it? Or are you satisfied with what you see? Are you willing to continue asking the right questions? Questions that challenge our very core, our very being. The why not, the what if, and the how might type of questions. Have you looked at it differently? Or were you just given the answer and you were satisfied and you walked away? Are you willing to ask the right questions to help you grow? Or are you satisfied with who you are? These questions bring the creative thinking in us. They challenge the status quo. But are we willing to accept the challenge? Are we willing? That is the real question. Or are we satisfied with the answer we've been given? Ma'am, why do I have to do this? Because, and you walk away. Why not ask again why? Maybe ask it 5 times. That will allow you to get to the real root of the actual solution, the actual answer, the real deal. Until you're willing to challenge, you're not getting there. It's all superficial. Ask, what if? In other words, what if I tried this? Are you asking the right questions? Or you take offense when your views are questioned, when your views are challenged. I know I've been asking a few of you some questions, and I would ask, and I could see you get a little uneasy. You know why? Because I'm trying to get to the real answer. Because the first answer that you gave me really wasn't the answer. What is the real reason of why you're doing what you're doing? What is the real reason? Or are you giving me an answer because you think that's what I want to hear? No, that's not what I want to hear. I want to know, what is the real reason? Or are you trying to fit in? You see, it's not about them. It's about me. It's about you. Are you willing to challenge the status quo? Are you willing to go there? Give it a chance. See it as a good thing. That is asking questions. It's not about you. It is about the process. The process of getting into the core. The real deal. Are you willing to get there? Tell us why. Once you discover that asking the why question in a different way and not being content with what the answer is, it is interesting what happens. See, I saw them. I saw them getting pained with my questions. I saw it. See, as I was going around and just talking and asking, I saw the pain. But I want you to be accustomed to that. I want you to ask of your professors questions. I want you to ask of your teachers questions. See, I teach at a university, 2 of them. I teach at Cal Poly Pomona. I teach at national universities. I challenge my students to ask me questions. I challenge them to ask each other questions. I challenge them. Because that takes you to the root. Takes to the core. It's not comfortable, especially, when the teacher thinks they know everything, and you ask them a question, and then you ask why, and you can see they're getting tense because they didn't expect you to ask that, because they had no reason to tell you what they did. They can't back it up. Ask why. Asking why is not being cocky. Asking why creates curiosity. You think. you put people to think. You allow them to put their thinking caps. See, you have to. See, you have to do it. You have to do it. I mean, you know I never wear this. So you must have wondered why I'm wearing this today. So I just used it, so I'm done. You just have to go a little deeper, asking questions 1 or 2 more times in a different way. This is exactly what disruptive innovators do to discover new ways of doing things. See, think of the engineers. No, think of us. Not think of you. See, you want to disrupt because you want to make it better. See, you can't disrupt unless you know what you want to address, unless you know the problem. See, you can't come up with a solution of a problem that doesn't exist. What am I saying? Think of what we call question storming. See, sit together, 5 or in teams of 10, come up with 50, maybe 100 questions of your scenario. Then narrow down those 100 questions or 50 questions to 10 good questions. You know, when you respond to those questions, that helps you to find solutions to your issues. Why do you want to do marketing? Why do you want to be an RN? Why? Because my mom said so. Really? I want to make more money. Maybe. But really, why? Why do you want to do it? Are you asking the right questions? Or are you maybe doing it because you think it is the easiest thing in the market? Trust me, the easiest thing in the market doesn't put food on the table. I'm telling you, if nobody has told you that, it doesn't. As Dr. Mbugwa said in the other panel, we have so many doctors out there that they can't put food on the table. You know why? Because they just did it. They didn't ask the right questions. They just did it. And they have loans of $100,000 plus, but they can't put food on the table. Ask the right questions. Let us accept that asking questions is not insubordination. It is not because we are not smart. It is because we want to know why. I encourage you to ask the why not and the what if questions. Why not this? What if we did it differently? What if? In other words, you're telling the person who is coming up with this idea that you think doesn't really make sense, have they thought of something else? Disruptive innovation. It doesn't just happen in Silicon Valley. It is all in your eye, deep inside there. You disrupt the way it has always been done. Why? Because you're being creative. Think about this young man, Richard Turere. He's a Maasai in Kenya. Maybe you've watched his TED Talk. If you have, good. If you have not, think about him. Hiding his cattle for his dad. And almost every night, they were being snatched by a lion. And he thought, what do I do to save my dad's cattle, my dad's riches? Creativity. I'll tell you what he did. He thought of, as they walk around at night with flashlights, the lions don't come. Then he said, I need to sleep. I can't keep on walking around all night. What do we do? The young man gets a solar panel, because in Maasai land in Kenya, the sun is hot, so it will continue recharging. And then around the homestead, he has LED bulbs, and they're all just flashing at night. And the lion sees those flashing, and he thinks there's somebody walking around. For the last 4 or so years, no cattle has been picked by lions. See, disruptive innovation. Create. Now, is doing it in the entire Maasai land and across. Maybe Ukambani should do the same. You need not have an answer. In other words, when you ask those questions, or you're being asked those questions, you need not have an answer. But it keeps us thinking. Encourage questioning. Are you curious? Do not suppress innovation. Do not instill fear. See, I'm a parent. I'm one. Sometimes when kids ask one question and they ask a second one, parents tend to be, stop it. Stop asking me questions. It's all right. Ask questions. And if there's any parent here, I know Dr. Mbugo is here, Dr. Kimani is here, Mr. Kimani is here. I see a young parent down there. I see another young parent here. What I'm saying is, encourage your children to ask questions. It's good. You don't have to have an answer. Rachel, you do not have to have an answer. Let them ask. Don't shut them down. Let them ask. That's why I'll tell you this. Children, as they are growing, they ask questions. But because we continue shutting them down, sooner or later they realize asking questions is not good, and they stop asking questions, and they go to school, they don't ask questions, because they've been shut down forever. Don't do it. Asking question works. It does. It does. Do not instill fear. Questions are critical insight in creative thinking. Changing our questions can change the world we live in. The key is constantly creating better questions to see the world through new eyes, to see the world through a different perspective. Changing the status quo. Ask them, but let them be good questions. The first question may not be that good, but as you continue thinking through, it helps. The key is constantly creating better questions to see the world through new eyes, I repeat. When this happens, we will find ourselves living in a profound observation that Jonas Salk, who was the discoverer of the first polio vaccine, made. You don't invent the answers. You reveal the answers. You do not invent the answers. Can you get this? It's bugging me. You reveal the answers by finding the right question. You reveal your solutions by finding the right question. You ask questions. You not only brainstorm, but you question storm. You think about, what are your problems? What are your questions? Through that, you reveal a new world in you. You reveal a new world of what you need to be, who you should be. We do not ask questions because we fear rejection, humiliation, or fear of failure. How come he doesn't know that? See, you fear because your colleagues may say, how come he doesn't know that? Don't. That's not your problem. That's their problem. It's not yours. That's their problem. That's their thinking. That is small-mindedness. They're trying to shut you down because you're too smart for them. For most of us, failure comes with a baggage, a lot of baggage that I believe is traced directly back to our schooling. From a very early age, the message is drilled into our heads. Failure is bad. Failure means you didn't study or prepare. Failure means you slacked off, or worse, aren't smart enough to begin with. It's a lie. Just because you didn't get an A, just because you didn't get a B, or even I'll go down, just because you didn't get a C, doesn't mean that you're not smart. If nobody has told you, I'm telling you, you're smart. And thus, failure is something to be ashamed of. This perception lives on long after we think we are done with school. We need to think about failure differently. As Ed Catmull of Pixar and Disney Animation noted in one of his books, failure, when approached properly, can be an opportunity for growth. Mistakes are not a necessary evil. They aren't evil at all. They are an inevitable consequence of doing something new, and as such, should be seen as valuable. Without them, we would have no originality. Change the status quo. Make mistakes, you go back, find better ways of doing it. You go back, you find better ways of studying. You go back, you find the real solution because you know what problem you're trying to address. Because unless you know the problem, unless you know the question, you can't find the right solution. Just because you tried it, it didn't work? Yes. You're smarter now. You're smart because you have now reason to find a solution. Let me talk to our high school kids, our high school graduates, if they're here, or those in high school. If you do not get accepted to your dream school, do not take it as a failure on your part. Use it as a challenge to create a new path. Ask yourself, what if I change my career goals? How might this eventually change who I become? Let us create a fearless culture. Let us step out of our comfort zone. And as I wind up, take a moment to reflect on the following. And I want you to think. What are your questioning patterns? What kind of questions do you focus on? What questions yield unexpected insights into why things are the way they are? I'll repeat that. What questions yield unexpected insights into why things are the way they are? Who are you? And why are you where you are now? What questions surface fundamental assumptions and challenge the status quo? What questions generate strong emotional responses? A great indicator of challenging the way things are, the way things have always been done. This is how we've always done them. This is how we've always done them. Who said it was the best way? Just because this is how it has always been. So, What questions guide you best in disruptive territory? As we gather here this afternoon as scholars, you hold the key to your tomorrow. Ask questions of your professors, your teachers, and your parents. Do not be satisfied with a drive-by answer. Ask why. Ask why not. Ask what if we, you can finish that for yourself. I'll leave you with this quote by President John Quincy Adams. If your actions inspire others to dream more, learn more, do more, and become more, you are a leader. Thank you. Now, I hope I've tickled you in the real sense to think. As you sit there, what comes into your mind? What comes into your mind? Feel free to talk. What comes to your mind as you sit there? And as I prepared myself going through this, and I read it so many times, because I asked myself, what is I going to talk about? And I just felt that this may be a good thing to share with you. As young brains growing up, as you make decisions on who you want to be, because you're not there yet. See, as you make decisions on who you want to be. So, now that I've done this, maybe for 15 or 20 minutes, I don't know what much I took, what comes into your mind? What challenges you? What tickled you?
How can I stop
Yeah.
Kenya from where America is with obesity?
Okay. Okay. So that's a question. How many questions could you ask so that eventually you can actually come with a solution? That's a good question. Anybody else who came up with a question that you can just say it? We are not looking for answers. We are looking for questions. Anybody who has an interesting question that can push the envelope? Yes.
I don't know if Chris was to raise their hand. It's not really a personal question, but I've always wondered how,
Can you wait for the mic?
Excuse me. Thank you. It's not really a personal question, but I've always kind of wondered, I guess recently, on the connection between culture and major choices. Because I don't think it's a coincidence that we see a lot of Africans and Asians in engineering and a lot in, no. So it's basically, does our culture and our bringing up affect the type of majors that we pick? And I guess, how can I contribute in a way where it encourages people coming from more conservative cultures to be more open to more creative majors?
Good. I like that. It's a good question. Do I have an answer? I could respond, but I choose not to. But I want to think. Because this is about questions. And I'm trying to put you in a level whereby I want you to ask questions based on what I've... Okay, go ahead.
Well, my answer to that is, first of all, GFS, I think it's that door we've just started opening where people are coming from different backgrounds, people are in business, people are in the fashion industry, whatever it is. And so I think a forum like this and an organization like this opens up the opportunity for people to see that actually I can do something that I've always wanted to do rather than what my parents have told me or what's a safe choice, I would say. So yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. I would like to hear questions. And thank you for offering that. Just questions. What questions come to your mind as we've gone through this?
Yes, hello. My question is for the young people. More or less, how do you let your parents know you don't want to do what they want you to do? Like, how do you get that across to them?
another question. Think about this. I want you to ask a question that starts with this. What if? How might? Think. So start thinking now. What if? Why not? So why not? What if? How might? So I've given you three choices. What if? Why not? How might?
What if I chose Muslim, to be Muslim?
Okay. Questions? Anybody else with a question? I'm trying to help you to be creative. I'm trying to help you to be creative. And that's why at this stage, I'm not looking for answers. I'm trying to help you to learn how to ask questions. That is the essence. Can you practice? What if? Why not? How might?
Sorry, I just keep taking the mic. It's not really like philosophical or whatever, but what if I was the next Bill Gates?
What if I did get into my dream school?
What if there's something better than this?
What if there's something better than this?
What if I'm finally living my dream?
Two more at the back. And then I will, okay.
What if I challenge the status quo?
What if I don't know what I want to do with my life?
Good question. Any other? Now, okay, at the back.
What if blue was really red?
Yeah. Okay. Now. Okay, one more. Just one more question.
What if I didn't have an accent?
And that's a, what if I did not have an accent? That is a good question. And of course, all the questions you asked, they are good questions. But I'm looking for questions that challenge who we are. I want you to think of questions that challenge you, who you are. Questions that challenge you. There and then, Dr. Kimani.
What if I was bold enough to believe and think and know that Kenya can be and will surpass a country as great as America?
Dr. Kimani.
No, I keep on hearing that our children have too much self-esteem. And I'm asking myself, what if they don't have enough self-esteem?
Good. Now, thank you. Thank you, everyone. And thank you for listening to me this afternoon. This is what I want you to take from here. Ask the right questions. That's it. Everything that I said here, all I want you to take from this is this. Ask the right questions. Because until you ask the right questions, you will not be able to find the real solution. Ask yourself, why are you doing what you're doing? Ask 5 times. Ask why 5 times. This is what I mean. Why are you here? Because I came to do a presentation. Why are you doing a presentation? You see, in other words, my second why is generated from the response I got. Do you understand what I'm saying? See, why am I here? Because I came to do this presentation. Why are you doing this presentation? Because blah, blah, blah. Why? Why? The 5th response gives you the real solution. Before then, it's all superficial. Ask the right question. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for giving me this chance.